Ever felt that when you pitch your business, you have an elevator pitch, you have 60 seconds, that you just don't have enough time to actually communicate what you do and why you do it and all this stuff? If you've ever been in that position, this video is for you. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Marketing with Stories. Every single week we bring you a new episode talking about how you can market your business authentically, how you can do it with stories. And today we're going to talk about how you can create more lasting connections with your customers. Make sure that you stay till the end because we're going to be talking about Disney Plus and how they are doing a really good job of doing this. Here's the deal. You own a business. And your business is actually unique. Like, you don't just say that, it's actually unique. The way that you treat your employees is better than your competitors. The way you develop and build your products or carry out your services applies more quality and care. The way you serve your customers is way better and way deeper than any of your competitors. But the problem is nobody knows about it. Nobody knows that stuff. And so they're just looking at you like anybody else out there. And if you're like me, then that's frustrating. It's frustrating to know that the way that you do something is totally different and even better than everybody else or most of your competitors. But to know that your customers, they're not getting that message. And so how do we solve this? How do we actually get in front of people to where we can communicate our value, communicate why we care in a better way? Well, the cool thing is that it's more possible to do this now than ever before. And the way to do that is long form content. That might be something like this, where you're making a YouTube video every week, or it might be a Facebook video, or you might go live every few days, or maybe you launch a podcast. The point is, how can you share your story in a good way, consistently over time? That's kind of the goal. And when we're asking this question of how do we create a lasting relationship, a connection where people actually trust us as a business, how do we do that? The way to do that is to create content over time. That's part of why we're doing this. It's because we want you to see that we really care about what we do. We don't just care about making money. We actually care about businesses like you learning how to market with stories, whether you end up hiring us one day or not. And so this is a great opportunity for us. And I think that there's probably something you could be doing in long form content to where you could consistently be telling stories, be getting great content of how your business is making an impact out in front of your customers. There's so many tools to do this, so many different ways. We're not going to go into that in this video, but what I want you to know in this video is that if you're looking at how do you solve that frustration of people not really knowing who you are, or not really getting why what you do is unique, the answer is content. The answer is making more content and making it over time. And that's what I want you to walk away with today. When you think about how do I market with stories, how do I make that lasting connection with customers, then the answer is to do stuff like this. The answer is to think of what type of content do I want to create? And the result with that is going to be trust. The result with that is going to be people are not going to buy from you because you're the cheapest. They're going to buy from you because they love you, they believe in you, and they really, really value what you do and why you do it. And I think that's the goal for all of us. So I hope this can be helpful for you on your journey of learning to market more authentically. We'll see you next week. Stick around for In Marketing. Hey everybody, welcome back to This Week in Marketing. And this week in marketing, we're going to talk about Disney Plus because they obviously do a great job telling stories, but I want to talk specifically about Disney Plus. So one thing we talk about often here is the difference between attention that you borrow and attention that you own. And just before this segment of this video, we were talking about the value of creating great content for a long time and how over time that's going to build trust with your audience. It's going to get them to be able to, really trust in you and trust that you want the best for them. And so Disney's been doing this for decades. They've been making their own movies and, distributing them all over the place you have to go into a theater and buy a ticket from a theater, or you have to go on Netflix. They've been gathering attention that's all borrowed until this last week when they launched Disney Plus and started to say, okay, we've been borrowing this attention from other platforms. We've been building trust through other channels for decades. Now we want to bring that attention in-house. And what happens there is now Disney actually owns their attention. I know they said that they had 10 million subscribers overnight, and they said, we're not going to let anybody know how many subscribers we have for many more months. But they had 10 million and $7 a month minimum. So, I mean, overnight, they're making $70 to $100 million a month, which is crazy. And the only reason they've been able to do that is because for decades, they've been telling really good stories, putting out great content, and building trust with their audience so that when it was the right time, when technology was in the right place to where they could say, hey, we want to create our own experience so that the people that align with us, they can come into this community called Disney Plus, and we can treat them better by giving them more content that we know that they'll love, and we can control the experience. And so I just think this is such a good example of marketing with stories. I know that it might seem like a huge example, but it's a good example of what it can turn into over time. And just looking at the trust that that brand has and how they've built that year after year by just having a commitment to telling amazing stories. And so with you, commit to telling amazing stories, putting out great content. I'm not claiming you'll be Disney Plus one day or have 7 or 10 million subscribers overnight, but the results show that putting out great content consistently works. We'll see you next week.